Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 2 as France, starting in 1920. This is episode 64. We're 4 months into a war with Italy, which is going pretty well, but I've only been served up a thin diet of teeny tiny small battles, nothing to really get into my grips, so no major ships have been lost, except for the extraordinarily random and painful loss of my most modern carrier to submarines outside of the battle, which of course you can't really do anything about. So if we go and have a look where we're at, the victory points is 4,800 to 1,600. I mean, it's fine, but it's not going to win any prizes. We're still waiting to invade Sardinia. The finance is fine. We're running a bit short, but the Chateau de Chambord should be finished next month. All other things are going pretty well. We're blockading the Italians, so I expect that they are beginning to suffer from unrest. Our unrest level is a nice fat 0. So let's carry on and see what battle we get. And we get another small battle. I don't know if it's because we outweigh the Italians 6-2 in battleships, battle cruisers, but we're pretty equal in carriers. In fact, they have a slight numerical advantage, especially since they sunk one of mine. But I'm just getting repeated amounts of these tiny battles. Now, it's only 255 to decline it, so I'm going to decline it in the hope that it gives me something meaty to show you. Okay, large convoy defense. I'll have that. That should be much more fun. So let's see what this is going to bring up for us. Land-based air should be... So I want to attack the enemy ships and get the points, but I also want to suppress the enemy airfields to lower the number of attacks on me. I'm going to go for enemy ships in general. And we've got some British people with us too. Well done, British people. So, this is all a bit more satisfactory. There seems to be a radar contact there, which is interesting, and a lot of forces. Let's change the ship names to capital ones so we can see a little bit better what we've got, and zoom out here and see. So down the bottom here we do have a convoy, so we need to go and have a look where that might be. Just zooming out. No, I'm not seeing anything. Let's center on the map. Okay, so this here is the convoy, and this, slightly worryingly, is the unidentified ship. And then our main force is a battle division with 3 battleships. Nice. A couple of destroyers, heavy cruiser, a couple more destroyers, a light carrier, which is great. The Lafayette is full of fighters, some destroyers for that, some cruisers, some British battleships as well. Well, that's really, really nice. And some British destroyers, another cruiser, actually heavy cruisers, nice heavy cruisers. These are former battle cruisers downgraded, and some more destroyers. And then we have a scout force of a couple more battleships with some destroyers, a cruiser, and some more destroyers. Kind of an old style scouting force, that. And then the carriers with 1 destroyers, another battleship in escort, some cruisers, another carrier. So yeah, this is great. Some more destroyers, some more cruisers, heavy cruisers, and a final carrier and some more destroyers. So I'm going to have a go at reorganizing this lot because it's a little bit hodgepodge. I haven't had much success in the past using Tortuga's editor, but let's give it a go now. Okay, I've had success with Tortuga's editor, not his problem. I for some weird reason, have 3 instances of rule the waves on my PC because of security nonsense, activation code things in the past. So I wanted a big fleet engagement. Looks like I'm going to get a big fleet engagement. Because I've had to use the editor, things are a little higgledy-piggledy. Let me just put the spotlight on. Obviously, convoy, which we are protecting. Some heavy cruisers, actually ex-battle cruisers, a little bit out of place. There's another one over here. I'm sure that will resolve itself over time. And then our main forces are here. This is the battle fleet, although mysteriously its light carrier with fighters is down there. That's not Tortuga, that's just rule the waves being weird. Here, next to the battle fleet, is the scouting force, good old-fashioned scouting force. And then over here and over here are the carrier groups. Again, weirdly deployed. They have no escorting cruisers and destroyers, despite the fact that their cruisers and destroyers are quite clearly marked in formation controls as screening. So no actual screening going on, despite screening being the order of the day. So a bit of a jumble. We will have to see how that's all looking. If we zoom out, we can see that we are pleasingly quite far away from Italian air bases here and here, meaning that the bulk of the enemy aircraft coming towards us is going to come from their carriers. I am guessing that they are somewhere up here or somewhere down here. Obviously, Sardinia itself casts a bit of a shadow. We are heading northish. The wind, by the way, is also heading in a northwesterly direction. You'll notice that the sea state is limited. It's limited to 28 knots, so not crippling. And I think that's mainly it. It will be 23,000 once nighttime has gone. As you can see, there's just the edge there. So it'll be dawn in 35 minutes. Obviously, first things to do are get those aircraft prepped and our search sorted. The thing that I so often forget to do. Now that's a slightly weird default that it's given me. I wouldn't expect the Italians to be coming from the wrong side, but who knows? So let me have a little think about how to organize this. So it seems to me this is a more reasonable search pattern. I've pushed it out to 250 miles. It is a little bit short now. I haven't checked the range of the various aircraft involved, but I suspect many of them can do longer than that. But in terms of the sea area to be covered, that seems a reasonable bet. I've set the cap to heavy because I'm scared of their attack capabilities. I've put a 2-phase search on, and I hope that the French aren't going to pop up in a weird direction over there. I have no reason to believe. Obviously, the game may have some sort of intelligence that I'm not aware of, but that would seem to be more appropriate. I don't know, though. I mean, I suppose I could change this to include this kind of direction just in case. Seems a lot of planes to have to be put onto search, but because it started in that direction, I feel sure the game wouldn't have just done that randomly. Discuss. Okay, let's go with that as a search pattern, and then let's have a look at our strike forces. The Lafayette, the light carrier, doesn't have the aircraft loadout that I expected. I thought it was all fighters. There's only 14 fighters. My mistake. It must have been on a previous light carrier, and I've forgotten to adjust. Its air complement. You'll see the ranges here, easily going out to plus 400 miles for the dive bombers, 380 for the torpedo bombers, 300 for the fighters. I'm going to put them onto heavy to get the maximum bomb load. That brings us down to 300 miles, which I'm fine about. For the torpedo bombers, I could go to medium, which would take us up to 382. But frankly, unless some of our land-based air reports the presence of the carriers, I'm going to struggle to actually just do the reconnaissance out to that distance. So I'm going to tell them to ready, no target for them at the moment, and move on to the next carrier division with lots of planes. So here's my loadout for 2 of the carriers, just a mixture of dive bombers, fighters, keeping in mind the need to have a second strike. So I'm pretty happy with all of that, and I am going to ready those and then do something similar for my second carrier division. And this is my second carrier division. Oh, I always forget the priority, so I'm going to put it on CVs. Obviously I don't know if there's any CVs around, but probably. So get that ready too. So that feels like a reasonable preparation for what I imagine we're going to face in this battle. So let's get started and see what comes up. Let's get started and see what the day brings. So lots of reorganization and no reports at the moment. I'm going to zoom out. Right there you can see. So it's nice to see. Nothing too alarmingly close to begin with. Nice to see the formations ready for whatever pops up. Now, concerningly, we've got a couple of radar contacts of unknown vessels. So is it that one? And then over here, there's this one. And then over here, there's those 2. So let's hope they're not too... all right. Quite hard to spot. So we have 1 here, 2 there, and seemingly 1 right in the middle of the convoy. So let's see how they resolve. So there's these 3. I'm not really sure I can do much about it. They're supposed to be screening. This lot down here are supposed to be screening this up here. So that's not gone well. Can I direct these people? Yes, I can. So let's bring them down. Well, actually, let's keep them going and bring these people down. And go have a look what's going on with this lot. Take it up to 20. Ah. Well, we seem to be shooting. Let's see if I can work out where this is, since there's no reports of shooting. This is going to be one of those battles with quite a widely dispersed force, so let me explain what I think's going on. I'm getting reports of some unidentified ship around the convoy, but it's not clear why. I've got the Dessay and the Gloire down here. They really ought to be over there, and so I've told them to be part of that force, so I hope they go that way. I'm going to keep the main battle force going to the north, generally in the direction of the convoy, and I'm going to keep the carriers following the main battle force. I'm turning the scouting force to investigate this, this, and this. It's this one here that is having the firing at the moment, presumably from this destroyer here the distance is 10,000 yards. So that's what's happening at the moment, as far as I can tell. No reports from the screening aircraft at the moment. Once we resolve who these guys are, I might bring the battle force down. We'll see. Okay, so definitely some fun going on there. I'm going to bring the scout force up to 26 knots. These guys, I kind of told them to go over there, and they're not doing very much at all. These guys are in screening formation, so I'll put them into support and see if that makes them go into some sort of line. As you can see, I can't control them. Well, that sounded a bigger gun somewhere. These destroyers are just happily ploughing on regardless, and has picked up half flotation damage for its pain from 3 medium hits. So that would imply that, no, I was going to say that would imply that it's a cruiser, but it's not. Oh, it's a destroyer with 4 6-inch guns. Is that allowed? Discuss in the comments below, please. No wonder it's being hit by medium guns. Let's take this poor ship and tell it to go home. So it's going off, and the Apol is chasing after. 4 6-inch guns on a destroyer, and 8 torpedo boats, and it's 1,500 tons. Oh well, and 34 knots. How do you get a 34 knot 6-inch gun, 8 torpedo boat destroyer? Discuss. So these are racing across. Still no idea who this lot are. At least Dawn is coming along. Still not able to do anything with these guys, and they are still not doing anything at all to join their supposed flagship, which is up here. So these guys, let's push them up to, what's their maximum? 28 is maximum, so let's put them to 24. And let's circle these round. So we're firing at 23,000 yards at radar contacts, even though alright, they are beyond our sighting range at the moment. Impressive, mind you. Oh, we're not at full daylight, are we? Yeah, it's twilight. I was thinking, why can't we see them? Our range should be 21,000 yards, but even then we wouldn't quite be able to see them. These guys set to scout, scouting through the medium of being many miles behind their lead ships. So I think this is kind of where the game breaks down a little bit, because there are so many forces. It's really difficult to have any kind of control. I mean, here's the carrier that is supporting these people, They are 22 miles away and showing no signs of trying to stay with the force that they're allegedly trying to support. The British are heading, so the British has provided a couple of battleships, the Camperdown and the Howe. Thanks very much. Unfortunately, they are going in... Oh, actually, they're rushing to meet the Lafayette. I'm not sure why that would be a thing. Let's make them support the battleship instead. See if that changes their mind about anything whatsoever. So they're engaging them. I kind of wanted them to engage this weird destroyer, but let's see if any of that comes to pass. So at least these guys have started to do something. Heaven knows what. Just wondering where the Gaulois is. You can see the Dessay and the Kelber. Still no idea on what these ships are, what type of ships they are. Nothing really. We seem to be keen on them though. Okay, let's swing this round and swing this round to close the door. Right, so it's a heavy cruiser. 10-inch gun heavy cruiser. So not 4-inch belt. So they shouldn't do too much damage, but what we don't want them to do is go in this direction and interfere with the jumble of mess that is our carriers over here. Okay, that's got them to turn around. Still no ID on the lead ship. Just going to bring the range out because we're really close, really close. Or what I'm going to call way too close. I'm just going to check. So luckily these aren't reporting that they've got any torpedoes, which is probably for the best. I'm going to turn the Tourville round so that we're all roughly facing the right direction. And there goes some torpedoes, including torpedoing us. So down here, the Amiral Cecile has taken a torpedo hit. Well, nothing I did to place her in that position, nothing I can do to rescue her from that position. Is the Dunkirk going around in rudder damage? Hooray! I think a giant great big battleship and rudder damage. Who said 10-inch guns are useless? Okay, if that's the game we're playing, let's lead the whole group. And the Redoutable's being hit by a torpedo. Well, this is all going splendidly. So for this group, I'm going to bring the speed down to the cruise. So good news, all three of those heavies are stopped and presumably not long for this world. The Redoutable also seems to be out of control. Just a mine or torpedo, probably a torpedo. So the flooding is under control. Rear turret is out of action, but I don't understand why it's not changing course. The Dunkirk still is going around in circles. Nothing I can do for the Amaralsa seal to slow it down or anything. And the Dunkirk seems to be Did I say Dunkirk? I'm an idiot. The Duquesne seems to have sorted out its engine problems. So that's good at least. Let's see if we can form these guys back up into some sort of formation. These need to run down this destroyer. Right, some reports over here I need to take a look at. Okay, this is what I was waiting for. This report over here, which is not too far. Reportedly a battlecruiser, 7 carriers, a light carrier, a couple of light cruisers and 8 destroyers on a course north. Well, we've dispatched an Italian heavy cruiser squadron that found itself in the middle of our fleet at dawn, having mercifully just missed our convoy. We took a little bit of damage, a torpedo to a battleship and the loss of a light cruiser, but seems a fair trade. And now we've found the main Italian fleet to the north of us. So after 30 minutes or so, this seems like a good point to stop this video. I hope you join me next time for the main action, a big carrier battle. Finally.